Hi everyone, it's Karen with Thrifted Living. So for today's video, I would like to share with you how I made this fabric rag wreath using scarves that I found at Dollar Tree. You will need to pick up scarves, and I believe that I used 4 or 5 during this project. You will also need a wreath form that you can find at Dollar Tree as well. The first step of this project is cutting the scarves into strips, and the thing that's so easy about this pattern is you can just simply cut on the line. I took a little bit of time at the beginning of this project to cut out as many strips as I could. The more strips that you cut out and use, the fuller your wreath will appear. So it does take a little bit of time, but it makes it easier because you can just simply cut on those lines. I then took one of the strips and tied it onto the wreath form, and what I actually decided at this point was that I felt like it was a little too long. I then decided to cut those strips in half just to make it look a little more full. I felt like with the strips their full length, it was just too long and sort of hanging off the wreath, kind of weird. Once I cut it in half, I felt that the length was a little better for the size of the wreath. I then took a few moments and cut all of those longer strips in half. To attach the strips of fabric onto the wreath, all you have to do is string the piece of fabric through the wreath and then tie it in a knot twice. It's very, very easy to do, and I felt like it was kind of relaxing to do as well. And once you tie it on, then you can sort of fluff it up a little bit and make it look exactly like you want. Another thing that I noticed with this fabric is that if you pull on it, it stretches and it doesn't really regain its shape again. So all you have to do is be gentle with it. You can also fit quite a few pieces of fabric on each section of the wreath, so don't be afraid to push them together. If you push them closer together, then you can add more and your wreath will appear fuller. Now you are going to continue knotting all of those pieces of fabric onto the wreath. I put fabric on all 4 layers of the wreath. I tried to fill up the wreath with as much fabric as I could. I wanted the wreath to look very full. I'm not going to say this project is tedious. I'm going to say that it takes a lot of time, but it's something that could be really fun to do with a friend or to have a YouTube video playing while you're doing it, or if you're listening to a podcast. I think that this is a relaxing project for me. I sort of like these projects that take a while and you can sort of get into a rhythm while you're doing them. Once your wreath is complete, it is time to fluff it up and add any finishing touches that you might want to. I thought that this pattern would look really nice with burlap, so I took some burlap that I found at Dollar Tree and I tried to create a bow. It was a bit of trial and error, but I finally figured out something that would work for me. I thought adding a pop of color might look nice, and I did like how it looked, but I just didn't like the thickness of the ribbon in comparison to the burlap, so then I decided to cut a little piece of burlap out to create my bow. I then cut off the extra strings that always come with working with burlap, and then I took some wire that I found at Dollar Tree, and I just cut off a piece of that and attached the bow to the wreath. I am so happy with how this turned out. I love how burlap looks with buffalo check. I just think it's such a pretty combination. If you enjoyed this Dollar Tree DIY, please make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Please check me out on Instagram or on Facebook at Thrifted Living, and don't forget to check out my blog. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!